evening and welcome to Inside the Rookery Season 8 episode Christmas Wishes!
Yay!
Tinsel is surprisingly warm, so I'm going to take this off. It seems to generate its own heat.
So I'm finding the same thing with the Christmas panda hat.
With-
I couldn't
with
find my Santa hat, so I'm the Christmas panda this year.
Yeah, a Christmas panda in California probably is quite warm.
And I got I put the furry coat on as well. Terrible idea.
I've just come running over from another stream, so I was literally panicking at the last moment, pressing buttons to try and get here.
Yeah, it was completely serene, professional, a slick operation on our side, Andy Law.
The always well-oiled machine.
I'm glad to hear that.
Definitely not famously unprofessional.
And if you've come over from that stream, hi, glad you all made it over.
Well, hello.
Hi to our readers. So today we're going to be talking about Christmas wishes. I have got all 4 Rooks, including myself, online today to answer your questions, and some of which you have pre-submitted, like always, through our friendly Discord server. If you would like to join us, please do. I'm sure someone will put a link in the comments. Today I've got a little bit of some technical issue, so sorry if it takes me longer to bring up comments than it usually does, because they're harder to see on the teeny screen I have got. But here goes. We are going to start off with a question from the one, the only, the famous, the legendary Lore Master of Sotek.
Oh, exciting. Oh, wow.
Who says, Lore Master of Sotek asked, if you could create your dream Warhammer fantasy video game, what would it be? Style, genre, setting, etc. Interesting. Andy Law and I were talking about this the other day.
Were we? Swiss cheese COVID brain.
You didn't.
We were?
You didn't necessarily know that we were, but we were.
Okay, good to hear. I don't know, what would be the perfect one?
Well, basically, I'll tell you what happened then. Andy was playing some JRPG, as he does, and I was watching, and I was thinking to myself, really the dream is a Baldur's Gate type RPG game, but with Warhammer, with all of our characters from all of our campaigns. So that's my dream.
Yeah, I mean, really, if it's going Warhammer Fantasy, we've already got Total War. And Total War is a very good Warhammer game because it's a Warhammer game. It's big armies doing Warhammer things. What's not to love? So I would look for the other great Warhammer product that hasn't really been properly covered, and that'd be the big roleplay game. 40k has had a couple of options with that. I mean, Owlcat recently did its 40k Road Trader game, and it was pretty decent. And it'd be really nice to see something along those lines. Baldur's Gate, I think, makes a great starting template, but I think I'd like something a bit grim and grittier in Warhammer. Definitely not like Lawhammer, because Lawhammer is proper crazy over the top. And I'd be looking for grim and gritty.
And I think if we were to, as a studio, publish our own game, we wouldn't want to do a Warhammer one. We would want to do something based on our own IP, something in the Coiled Crown setting, or another setting we have yet to devise.
Yeah, I always this is more than a decade ago now. When the news first broke that we were going to get a 40k MMO, oh sweet, and then it unfolded as to what it was going to be, and I'm just like, it's. I understand why they go, oh yeah, let's take a dark elf and let's take a troll slayer and let's sort of jam all these things together and kind of did this sort of copy pasted sort of almost like Marvel superhero team up thing. And I thought you're missing an opportunity to actually dive deep dark down into it. Oh, actually, it wasn't. No, it was sorry. I'm using fantasy archetypes, but they talked about it. It was like there was a Dukari and a was there a Space Marine? I can't remember, but it was just sort of they went in at the top tier when they could have come in down something dark and something genuinely gritty again, and made it a bit more like digging your way up to that kind of heroic level. And I was in favor of something like a Necromunda setting for an MMO, where maybe you climb your way up through the gang till you're leading a gang at the end of it. Something like that I would have thought would have been actually show a nice little window into the 41st millennium that we haven't seen a great deal of before.
Yeah. Yeah, I was particularly disappointed with the Necromunda game. For those of you who played it, you may love the game. I mean, it's pretty much Necromunda, but mostly because it just felt kind of soulless. It felt like the very elements that Mark is suggesting, really getting to grips with the world, were sort of put beside what was just basically a shoot 'em up.
I mean, it seems you've done a really good job with Space Marine. With it, I mean, the new one's got certainly the tone of it seems to be right on the money.
Although I am still disappointed they don't have Mark Strong being the voice. Because it should be fucking Mark Strong, because he was the voice in Space Marine 1, and for as far as I'm concerned, he is Titus of the Ultramarines. And our new Titus just doesn't sound like Titus to me. And I love it dearly, and it's a great wee game, but holy shit, that's not Titus. God damn it.
I don't. I think they've done a good job with the world building. I think the game's dreadful. There, I said it.
Oh, well, there we go. You said it.
Mediocre.
No,
it's not fun. The campaign's too short. It's way overrated. Stinker.
There you go.
I enjoyed. We used to play Warhammer online, and I did enjoy it. And we had a great time, and we had a guild, and it was a really like community, and it was fun to be playing in an IP we knew so well. But it didn't feel like Warhammer. I remember when we met, like what's his name? Who was in Lawhammer last night? He made a special appearance. Valmir von Rykov, right?
Oh.
And you meet him in the game, and it's like that meme. It's like, my guy, you look like you dropped common loot. Like, he just looked so like normal. Like,
Yeah, he was so mundane.
Standing there in the street. Like,
One of my issues with Warhammer Total War as well is that they constantly drop names like Valmir von Raukov, and then you see them and it's just generic Empire Lord with a big beard. And it's like, that's not Valmir. He's someone who had a miniature all the way back in 4th edition Warhammer. Big, huge moustache guy with a giant dragon bow. The guy kicks ass. What the heck? He's a hero of the Empire. He had his own little box set. Get out of it. Screw you.
yeah, I know
Rubbish.
I know you can still play it flip top, but sadly for us, we then had children and had a life, and we couldn't devote our entire existence to online gaming anymore. But I wouldn't play it now because I just think like I just would want it to be something completely different. Like, and I don't get me started. Just don't get me started. It's not worth it.
I think the more successful, I think the more successful Warhammer licenses have been things that feel a little bit more contained, like Vermintide and things like that, where it's like, we'll just focus on this rather than attempt to do all that because it's so vast, you know.
I think I'd really like a third-person actioner, like an Assassin's Creed game set in more time. I think that'd be a lot of fun.
That'd be fun.
None of the gang building.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, the problem is I think the gang building mechanic would become a distraction. So, like, primarily you operating solo, and I think that.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Make
a story of the Dark Father.
Kadane says I played a lot of Hitman and Thief, so would like something in a mashup of those styles in a Warhammer.
Thief's a great game.
What I would like now, thinking about it, you know that rat game, Andy, where you control rats. What's that called?
That rat game where you control rats?
Yeah, like you have to use the light to like push the rats around, and you've got your little brother.
I've got I've got it.
It's a good game. Crap. You don't control the lights. The rats, pardon me. The rats are bad guys.
Yeah, but you can but the tactic is controlling the direction of the rats through the use of light.
Yeah. Okay, no, that's it. Plague Tale. That's it. Plague Tale. Thanks very much.
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah.
Plague Tale is amazing, and I would love Andy Law to write me my own personal Plague Tale story with my characters from Warhammer that are in Plague Tale.
Or you flip it on its head and you're the Grey Seer and you're in control of the rats.
Yeah, amazing.
So, that's one of the great things that Warhammer offers, but the games often don't. And that's that when you play Warhammer, you are often, in fact, most commonly, playing bad guys. Where they often, on the computer game side, go, you're a goddamn fucking hero, whether you want to be or not. And even when they try and deal with other species, like if you had the one where you played the Tau or whatever, they still tend to go down the more heroic route. I think it would be super fun for them to actually properly ham it up with some of their bad guys.
Embrace the dark side.
Yeah. I mean, play freaking Thankwall. Or, play Manfred von Karstein or something. Yeah, the Doom Lord of Middenheim. Or something ridiculous like that where you're playing that, because Warhammer is so much more than just being a goddamn fucking hero. It's a game of shades of grey, and it would be nice to move on to some of that for a change.
I'd also like to play something that's just set in one city, so like just Altdorf, but it's like, I don't know, Imperial theft carriage. I don't know, something like that. And you just have to like run around Altdorf. That would be amazing.
Yeah.
because my concern with it being an RPG is if they don't get the tone and the dialogue and the art direction all exactly right, I would bounce hard off of it and would notice all the problems and then would absolutely hate it.
Well, I'm assuming that it's perfect and it worked.
Yeah, if it's perfect, then
chef's kiss. It'd be great.
But if it's not perfect, uncanny valley.
Yeah. Bullshit. Exactly.
Going to a different question to Zoltan. By the way, I got stickers arrived in the post today, so some of these may be coming to some patrons. Some people who've already had their parcels posted might get a little sneaky extra mail out in the new year.
Yeah, we didn't really factor in, or I didn't really factor in the delays in the Christmas post, the craziness of it all, because these were meant to arrive a while back, but you know.
Yeah, so
not wanting to throw the carrier themselves directly under the bus. It's just I should have thought about how long post tends to go, you know, over Christmas.
I don't think you should, Mark. I think you should have expected nothing but the best.
Yep, quite right to fuck them. Grand Theft
So
Courage
Zoltan asks, what were the standout moments or highlights from the Rookeries gaming year in 2024?
Well,
I'm going to say the obvious things first. Okay, Dark Deeds! Because obviously we released Dark Deeds. We also worked with Modifius to get the Solasta roleplay game out, which was super cool. So if you happen to be a fan of Solasta, which, by the way, at the Game Awards that just went by, just had its second game announced. If you happen to be a fan of Solasta, you are in a perfect place to go and pick up that RPG from Modifius right now, because...
After you bought Dark Deeds.
But buy Dark Deeds. Freaking hell, buy Dark Deeds. If everyone bought Dark Deeds who's on the stream right now, who watches the stream, we'd be happy people.
Yes.
Because, you know, we want to make more games like Dark Deeds, and we will if we sell lots of copies of Dark Deeds. So, buy Dark Deeds. So, that's an obvious standout moment. If I was to go beyond that, I would say, I don't know. What would you say?
Yeah, what would other Rooks say? I think I would say seeing Dark Deeds on sale at our local gaming convention. That was great. Broadcasting live again from Chimera and getting some new authors.
Excuse me. Moros, you kick ass. I don't have anything alcoholic here, so I can't take a drink, but I will after this stream. Thank you very much. You kick ass.
Cheers.
I love you, Moros. Thank you.
Yeah, Chimera Festival was really good this year. Really enjoyed that. Enjoyed meeting people that had been on the show before, who were there as guests, making new friends. It was just a really good festival, as it always is.
So I'm going to go in a completely different direction. I'm going to go with games that I have played and enjoyed. And I have been going through, when I was particularly ill, I was going through quite a lot of computer games.
Oh no, wait, you can't do that now because we've got a question on your gaming.
All right, I'll shut up. Good,
year.
That's to come. I shall now turn my head away.
This is the Rookeries gaming year. I think what's been a real highlight for me is seeing all the concept sketches come in from Mark and kind of seeing the world that we're building come to life. That's been amazing. A real highlight at the end of the year.
So sadly, my one's going to be what's coming next. So I'm going to actually hold on my answer to this one because I have been doing so much work of late on something that I'm super excited by that's probably going to come in another question. So I'm just going to hold on that and say, that's coming very soon. And when that question's asked, I'll answer it there.
Yeah, for me, getting Dark Deeds out, it just eclipses everything else this year. Because again, like any... I already knew what a slog it could be, making your own games, you know, putting that stuff out there, and even with a publishing partner like Modifius, it's still a lot of hard graft. It's still a lot of effort. You're never quite sure if this is at all wise a way to attempt to be making a living. So getting anything out there on the shelf, seeing a finished product, you know, and yet having something in your hands it's just amazing.
Mm-hmm.
It is.
Absolutely.
So more of that. Let's have more of that, please.
Yeah,
more of that would be great. Yeah, it was a particularly fine moment when the box arrived in our house with all of the...
In fact...
When I got the sample through, the print
this is my sample.
And I opened the box. I shed a tear when I saw the shiny skull on the front there. I absolutely did.
Nice one, Istian.
Thank you very much.
I'm glad to hear your copy. So this is my sample copy. So the printed copy that came once it was posted is through in the house. This is my sample one. And I will also admit, when it arrived, I was like, yeah, holy shit. Yeah, this is good. And that was, for me, a pretty big standout. And the work.
So I want that to happen at least once again next year. At least once. Ideally 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, totes. That would be nice.
Here's an interesting question. Can you share a sneak peek of what might be in the festive packages for Patreon supporters?
No.
It's so good.
I don't know if I can do that.
No.
Yeah.
Spoil the surprise.
How could
Why
we do
would
that?
we do that? Yeah, so if you didn't know already, all of our patrons are getting something sent to them. If you're on the very low end, if you're just throwing like a pounder or something like that every month, thank you very much. It's enormously appreciated, makes a huge difference. We'll be sending you a quick card saying thanks. On the top end, you'll find out.
If you send your address, you have to opt in. They're just not going to magically arrive.
Because Patreon doesn't give us your addresses. So if you want the stuff, get over there to the Patreon and ping us. There's a nice little post up there saying either ping on Patreon, and I'll sort it all out there, or ping Lindsay directly over in Discord if you're our patron. And we will be sending it to you. Although the later you send us your details, the more after Christmas they will arrive.
The more likelihood it'll have some of my Christmas chocolate in it. So Zoltan, I'm really sorry because this is not in your package that is going to be coming, but you will get one.
We're going to send that separately.
But I must also apologize to all the patrons who are in Belgium specifically. We don't have anyone in Switzerland, thankfully, because I dropped a few extra things in those packages, some of which are quite nice. And one of which, as I put it, as I thought, nobody out of the UK is going to thank me for me sending this to them, least of all a person from Belgium. So just wait till you get that package and you'll see what I mean.
All right. Yeah.
It's
you know
gonna,
what it is.
So it's either going to be chocolate or beer.
You'll find out.
If it's Belgium. Or Brussels sprouts. You're not sending people Brussels sprouts in the post.
No. No. I didn't think that was wise. I'm fairly certain that one of the customs rules that you can fall foul of is sending like fresh produce.
Not pickled sprouts then. I feel sorry for Belgium.
You poor Belgian folk.
Zoltan's gonna wait. Good. I sent a DM on Discord. Should I ping in the
So if you're on Discord and it has and Lindsay has replied to you, we've got it. It's fine. If she hasn't replied to you, you've replied to everyone. Is that right? Who's pinged you?
I've replied to everyone, I think, who's pinged me. But
good. Okay. So if you haven't received a reply, then you possibly need to send that one again. So do so.
I feel really quite bad.
Excuse me. I'd just like to say that first word.
Exactly. Yeah.
Thank you.
At least it's not American chocolate.
Oh.
brown wax. That brown wax that passes off as chocolate.
Oh, disgusting. Although Hershey's Kisses are one of my friend's favourite chocolates. And it is my friend's favourite chocolate. And she is the originator of the one true chocolate theory. The one true chocolate theory being like the chocolate that you got on a significant event for you as a child, either your Christmas if you celebrate it, or Easter if you celebrated that, or Hanukkah if you celebrated that. I don't know if they give chocolate on Hanukkah. She wasn't Jewish. But her theory is that is, no matter how shit that chocolate is, that's the one true chocolate for you. And I was like, well, like for you, Hershey's chocolate, like I really think you should have done better.
Yeah, I don't know that that's a thing for the Brits, because we have lots of good chocolate. So it's like we're spoiled with good chocolate. Yeah. Whereas you might say, oh, Hershey's Kisses or Reese's mini cupcakes.
Oh,
those are pretty nice, but everything else is terrible.
We are really spoiled for good chocolate, and yet. Sorry for the take.
Oh no! Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry, but the particular entire thing I sent is to me almost the one true chocolate, because nothing says Christmas to me like this particular thing I put in. And don't get your hopes up, it's not a chocolate orange. I wish I thought that far ahead.
Oh,
So nothing says bad Christmas chocolate to me like the thing. I'm really selling it.
yeah. Once we're off air, you have to. My curiosity is peaked now. I'm going to need to know.
Yeah, I think I can hazard a guess, but
Yeah. I think you might know, Andy.
I
Because
think you might have given me some last night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I also made packages for the Lawhammer cast last night. And there were a few bits left over, and because there were a few bits left over, I just popped them in the patron packages that I was sending out yesterday.
So it's that level of personal attention that you get with us you don't get from TSR or TSR. What am I saying?
Holy shit, Mark.
Wizard.
Yes, sir.
I didn't catch myself.
Okay, so John asks, John's parcel has gone. John's parcel is going through a circuitous route to get to him. What games are on your Christmas wish lists?
I'm gonna now. I've upgraded. I've got a nice shiny new Mac. I'm gonna at last be able to play Baldur's Gate 3. So I think I'm gonna be diving into that over Christmas. I think so.
Yeah, Baldur's Gate 3 is pretty damn decent.
Oh, and then there's the vampire. There's the vampire one. Something V. What's it called? Where you it's a you are the vampire and you build a castle and all that kind of stuff. Oh, I can't remember the name of it now. Something
Holy
V.
shit.
V Rising. V Rising. Yeah.
Why don't I know this game? Wait a minute. Just going to type that in over at this side.
Yeah, you do that. I will say that over Christmas, I'm going to be playing Minecraft because we have a family server and I've been mapping that family server and I've got like 9 full maps up on a wall, but it's just not enough. So I'm going to be going back to continue the cartography exploits of our family Minecraft server. I'm also making a Temple of Shalia and I've made a Temple of Sigmar.
As you do.
I'm experimenting with like white marble and like ruby stone for the Temple of Shalia for like as though they've got like sort of blood marble. It's quite cool. So that's what I'll be doing. And I need to play Baldur's Gate 3 because I haven't played that yet and I really want to play it. I just haven't had the sort of like downtime to be able to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so on my side it's tough because I've just had my birthday and I was ill also just before that. So I bought everything and I played everything. I went through somewhat of an Atlas Games binge and I completed all the Persona games again and dived into Metaphor as well, which was better than I expected. So this is a tough one for me because I kind of get the games I want before Christmas because I'm an idiot and I just buy everything when I see it every single time. I see a board game I like, I just pick it up and Lindsay goes, oh, we've got a new game. And I go, yep, sorry. So there's no games on my Christmas list per se other than the next game I see.
Also, I have a list of games that we put into storage because in a intelligent and clever move that will stand the test of time as one of the best decisions ever made in our household, I wrote the names of the games on every box. So I wrote the contents of every box, took a photo of them. So whenever someone says, is that game in or out of storage, I can go and consult my photo collection. I'm quite proud of that piece of stellar adulting. And so I want some of those games back. Like that's my Christmas.
Because that's where freaking Chaos in the Old World is, for example. So yeah, it's not in the house, and a bunch of other games that I want to get hold of because the only games we've got are the small smattering of about 40 or 50 that are currently sitting in the living room, which is, as far as board games go, and as far as I'm concerned, nothing. That's not a bunch of board games. That's like nothing. That's like calling it a library. You wouldn't call 40 books a library.
I was genuinely horrified today when Andy was saying to me, where's Chaos of the Old World? And I was like, I'm sure it's in this room. And he was like, no, I think it's in storage. And I was like, well, I'll consult my list. And I consulted my list, but I had to scroll through so many boxes before I got to that box. And I was like, oh my God, there's so much in storage. Where are we going to put it all?
Yeah, well, we're going to have to figure that one out later. So that's what games are on my Christmas list. All my games are in storage. There's around about 300 in particular I'm looking forward to.
So 101 Colonel says, how about Dark Deeds over Christmas? We are going to be
Defo.
playing Dark Deeds over
Oh,
Christmas.
yes, certainly. It's the inevitable awkward tension that happens around the Christmas table when all the relatives get together. Dark Deeds, it actually gives you a perfect excuse for that. You don't have to blame it on Uncle Tony's political leanings. You can
just stab
you
him.
can blame it on the fact that he stabbed you in the back on the street playing Dark Deeds. You can hide all that hostility behind his actions over a board game. Ideal.
Best way to deal with the racist uncle.
Pretend stab him. Yeah.
Steal his nemesis.
Yeah. And also pretend stab him.
And pretend stab him.
I think we will try and play. We have been talking about trying to live stream a few games as well, so we probably will actually live stream a few games of Dark Deeds, because the last one we did was in time
Sort
in
of
Lawhammer.
weird
So
in
we want
time.
to do,
So yeah,
so we kind of want to do a normal game as well. That'll be fun.
Yeah, totally. It's high on the list of wants.
High on the list. Okay, let's see what other questions we have. Win Turning Leaf asks, what is one game or franchise that you think should get more love in the coming year, either more attention or some sort of new material?
Some sort of new material, eh? Well, beyond anything that we make, is there something I think should get more attention? Is there something I've played recently that I don't think has been very well received and is in fact good? I mean, there's nothing coming to mind for me. No. And I'm playing a lot just now. Yeah.
Franchise things that we lament not having new material are often actually TV shows at the moment. Because Andy will be like, hey, there's this TV show I watch. You should watch it too. And then I watch it. And then, to be fair, you don't usually tell me afterwards. You always tell me before, oh, by the way, that one was cancelled. So we recently watched what's it called? Death and Other...
Death and Other...
all I want to say is Death and Other Wishes, but I know that's not right. It's just...
Is it the one that's on a cruise ship?
Yeah, with Mandy Patinkin.
Death and Other Details.
Thank you, not Death and Other Wishes. I watched that recently, but it was cancelled, and I was a bit disappointed. Although his English accent is truly terrible.
Oh no!
I'm like, you might as well.
Yes.
He's meant to be English.
Oh my god!
I know.
I thought he was trying to do French.
No.
I genuinely thought he was trying to do French. Or Belgian, like Poirot. I thought it was a riff on that.
No, he's meant to be like a London geezer.
Oh wow! It's like nothing like.
I like to think that he's an international London geezer who is spreading around the world investigating things and thus picked up a transatlantic with a stress on the other side of the Atlantic accent.
Wow.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I know. I'd like another Dungeons and Dragons movie. I really liked Honor Amongst Thieves. I'd like some more of that, please. I'd like a TV series. I'd also like the Judge Dredd TV series they talked about.
That would be good.
The last movie that never happened. Give me Dredd and give me D&D, please.
Yeah, if we're looking at franchises, my problem is I'm super critical of almost everything that I watch. So whenever the idea of more comes up, I always feel like they'll do it wrong.
Well, because they usually do. They could give us less Marvel and less Star Wars. I'll be fine with that.
For example, I really wanted the Bene Gesserit series, and then I watched it, and I was like, oh, well. I mean, I'm sure it's a nice Dune series, kind of, but it's not. It could have been so much better. And that's my general issue with getting more stuff all the time, is that often it just doesn't work the way I want. I mean, there's tons of stuff I'd like to see more of. Tons of stuff. You know.
I'd like to hear more about the next Mass Effect game. Because obviously they're in development of that now, but they've been incredibly coy about when it's going to be set, for instance. Like, I don't think it would be the worst thing in the world if they gave us at least a rough steer, because at some point they're going to have to.
Yeah,
so
they're going to have to
rip that Band-Aid off and tell us,
Yeah, and there's
I'm interested in the... is that... the Amazon Warhammer series. Is that
Yeah.
Henry Cavill?
Henry Cavill, yeah.
The one that's produced by him. Yeah, assuming that it does go. Well, I mean, it literally just got confirmed that they're definitely going ahead after 2 years of discussions about exactly what they're going to put into it. But that means it's just about to go into production, which means it might still be another 2 years before we actually see it.
I think it feels like it's just about to start pre-production, never mind production. You know,
I remember. Yeah, totally. I remember when I was last down in Bugman's, and without saying any names, the general discussion was how much everyone was going, maybe not, in terms of wanting to write for it because of the way it was being discussed at the time. Yeah. And that's hopefully changed completely now. And obviously that was months and months have passed since then. And clearly it's all pinned down. So I'm super excited to see what they do while simultaneously slightly scared.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it, but I just have real misgivings about, is it 40k or is it Warhammer?
Yes,
it's 40k.
Yeah, it's 40k, right? I just have real reservations about the ability of anyone to represent like the true scale and magnitude and off the charts, like hugeness, vastness that is what 40k can be. Like, and the Dune series is a really good example of that. Like, the Dune series is set 10,000 years in the past, in their past. But at that time, there's still an empire, and they're kind of like it's not like 10,000 years in the future, they're at the peak of their powers. Like, they're still supposed to be this massive empire. And the throne room, the throne room is like, I don't know, some backwater medieval king-size throne room. You're like, what even is that? Like, it's not.
It feels small. Yeah, it does. It feels small. I agree.
Yeah, I think the challenge with 40k is that it falls between. I think they either need to tell the epicness of it, or they need to go the opposite end and tell a really small story. But I think they'll probably fall in somewhere in the middle, and that's where the danger, I think, lies.
Yeah, but I think if you tell a really intricate, like a really zoomed in story, you can still give scale with that, because it's the references around it. Like, literally, if you've got a world, you know, there are countless worlds in 40k, and like one of them is complete, you know, if one of them's completely militarized and it's like billions of people feeding a military machine, like that's amazingly vast in scale, but you could still have a story that was just set on that world. I think that would be cool. And I just have that kind of worry that
I know that Henry wants to do Adeptus Custodes, and I'm like, oh god, so Superman in space, and I kind of go, and Imagine Workshop will go, well, why don't we do Ultramarines, because they're a poster boys? Like, oh yeah, but they're the dullest chapter.
I almost vomited my water when you said that.
Well, I think if Workshop had decided, right, these are our poster boys, these are the Space Marines that we're going to show every time we show Space Marines. If they'd done that 10 years later, then when they decided to do it, it wouldn't be Ultramarines, it would be the Black Templars, because they are. I think they're far more the definitive Space Marine chapter. You know,
for me, the definitive Space Marine chapter, and I don't know why, is the Dark Angels. Like that's just, and it's not because it's the one true chocolate, right? Everyone has a different definitive Space Marine chapter. Yeah. For me, it's the Dark Angels. But I've got friends who are like, no, absolutely the Space Wolves, 100% Viking Superman in space. Like,
yeah, well, I mean, the Space Wolves were my first true chocolate as well.
Yeah,
but I think the Templars came to define what the Imperium, the military might, the zealot arm of the Imperium is about, just because this unrelenting, unforgiving, the black armor, all the heraldry. It's like, it's Black Templars.
Oh, this would be amazing. CSI, Necromunda, Adeptus Arbites crime show. Yes.
The Adeptus Arbites. That would be quite fun.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. No, if it's going to be Necromunda, you'd want something more like The Wire. You'd want something like The Wire. You'd want different gangs. And
that would be cool.
Them kind of like, you know, seeing inside all the different factions as they're all kind of like competing for it.
Yeah, but again, I think that you'd have to have someone who really understood it and
Yeah.
not just understood it, because if you just understood it, it could come out like really cartoony, really like comic. You would definitely want something like The Wire, but like, how would you do that in
A proper
science
epic.
fiction? Like super epic.
It's
so
kind
hard.
of, yeah. It's sort of you need whoever's running the showrunners and the money men behind the show. It needs to be something like Arcane, where it's a Netflix show, but it's made with Riot money, and they have all the money, so they got to make exactly what they wanted to make. Thoroughly uncompromising, indulgent and mad and beautiful, and just what they wanted to do. And I don't see. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Amazon and Games Workshop can come to that kind of similar arrangement with Henry Cavill involved. Maybe I'm doubtful. They couldn't do it with Lord of the Rings. I don't think they'll be able to do it with 40K.
They did it pretty well with Fallout. Fallout's pretty damn good. I mean, it's not brilliant, but it's pretty damn good. Yeah. And they did Fallout pretty well, and it felt like Fallout all the way through watching it. I was like, yep, this is Fallout, all right.
Well, there we go.
Tonally, it was. It all depends on who they get running the show, really.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. If they get the right person running the show, I think it might work. If they get the wrong one, it'll definitely fail. That's not the best of odds, I think. It's also because 40K is material that is super, super easy to get really wrong.
Yeah.
And if you get it really wrong, you are going to get a very intriguing fan base.
Oh my god!
Oh yeah, the ripples. If they get it wrong, but it's really popular, oh my god, the schism that will create is amazing.
And as I think, as we've already indicated, demonstrated rather, it's such a big universe with so many different aspects of it that even before you get to the writing, just which aspect you decide to focus on, that in and of itself will be divisive.
Yeah,
I genuinely can't see a way in which it's going to ever be popular.
Like, we've literally only talked about humans. We haven't talked about Eldar or Dark Eldar or Tau or Necrons or anything. We haven't talked about Chaos. We've literally just only talked about a fraction of a fraction. Right, so we asked on people on Discord to share their own Christmas wish. So I will read it. John's, my 2025 goal is to finish the Enemy Within campaign, same, and start a new self-written campaign.
It's worth noting this bit.
Given that it took me 3 years to get to the end of Power Behind the Throne, it is a long shot, especially given the amount of additional material I'm adding in.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, Power Behind the Throne is the third book of 5, and he's got basically a book a year done so far, and he wants to complete the last 2 books, the last of which is the biggest, and almost certainly will be rewritten by him within a year. Good luck with that. I broadly actually have exactly the same wish. We started our one last year, near the beginning of last year, and our original intent was to finish within approximately a year, so finish this year, but not more than around about 2 or 3 months in, our discussion went around, let's just let it breathe in whichever direction it goes. So we kind of have, and we're now halfway through book 4 in terms of if you went with, assuming that R1 was even close to what's going on in the real campaign that was published, which ours isn't, but assuming we'll be about halfway through book 4, so I reckon we're going to finish this year, and we've got some pretty freaking epic stuff coming ahead, but I have the same wish, and also because I want to move on to another one, and assuming that we continue on with the same campaign, similar characters, we'll be moving on to a campaign called Past the Old One, which was originally written by me and Gav Thorpe. And was never published. So that will be a super fun thing for folks to see, assuming that we go on, because we may not. There are plans behind the scenes, which we will discuss at some other later point. But I would like to see us carry on, at least as it stands.
Zoltan asks, are there any exciting new project streams or collaborations planned for 2025 that you can tease for us? I don't know. I don't know what we're allowed to see.
Okay, I'll take at least a stab at not saying things that I'm not allowed to say. So we have been working on parts of the Call of Crown for a long time, as you all know. And I think that is not exactly controversial to say. We have completed one book inside that already. It's done. There are edits that we want to do to it because we are currently doing something else too. But the book itself, all the art's done, it looks pretty as fuck, and it's cool. we are not releasing that because we want to release it along with something else. And that's what I am currently working like a bloody bastard on. I am spending pretty much most of my free time when I'm not dying somewhere in a corner or whatever other ridiculous issue hits me. I'm doing that, and I'm having an absolute whale of a time with it. Now, Zoltan knows what it is because, well, he's the Golden Rook, and we occasionally have discussions with Rooks about little things that we're doing. We've discussed it in previous streams. I will say that, yeah, it's a roleplay game, and yeah, the work is progressing like freaking mad, and I would very much like to see that in a good place very soon. I think that's the uncontroversial. I've said nothing unexpected there. Am I okay?
I think you're okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, good. We're also doing other things though because we can't help ourselves. As is often referred to by Mark as the palate cleanser. We have other things that we're constantly doing because we, for example, may be finishing off, say, Ship of Fools, which is, as I say, that's the book that we've done. And that inevitably leads to a, oh, wow, that was a thing. I'd really like to do palette cleanser, and we do some other things. And we have, for example, a palette cleanser which rules-wise is done, and we're going through the last periods of playtesting on a fun little aside. I'd like to see that hit because it's ridiculously fun. But we'll see about that a little bit more over Christmas because Mark's currently using that as his palette cleanser.
Yeah.
And I'm very much looking forward to messing around with that a bit more. But in terms of overall telling you what it is, we'd rather not because we've made that mistake before. And said a thing before it was at a position where we should have probably said the thing. So this time, we're just going to leave Strum until we're definitely certain. But we have finished Ship of Fools, and we have got something else which is not just burning, it's bubbling like hell. And we have a lot of plans for that. And in some respects, you can see what those plans might be with what we started to with our releases this year. So yeah. Other streams, I don't think we've got any extra streams planned beyond wanting to do some more gaming stuff for our own things and collaborations.
We definitely want to do a setup like a setup video for Dark Deeds. We haven't done that yet. We definitely want to do that and want to do some more Dark Deeds streaming. Yeah, I don't know. We'll maybe want to do a few more broadcasts from outside next year. We're sort of talking to a few different cons and things around Scotland about doing some stuff like that.
It'd be nice, it'd be nice before the end of 2025 to be in a position where we can go to a convention with a booth with a bunch of stuff to sort of, hawk. That'd be nice.
Yep, I think that's a good target.
Mm-hmm.
Is it the end of the stream yet? Can I start writing? No. I've got the bug bad. I'm currently going through what is effectively a bunch of process-driven problems. And finding the solutions and the processes for each one of those solutions is really appealing to my mental framework just now. And my brain is skipping through a whole host of issues. Now, for those of you out there who follow the Lawhammer side, you'll notice that I just very quickly wrote a game literally yesterday. A whole game got written and was played live during the stream. And that was because my brain is so attached to mechanics just now that when I needed something, rather than come up with a solution from elsewhere, I literally just built the entire thing I needed that afternoon. Because my brain is so caught up with that sort of game mechanic, buildy, problem-solving stuff. So, yeah, I've got the bug hard right now, and I'm really liking it.
Yeah, you won't talk about anything else, pretty much.
Yeah, that's my job, to bore everyone else with a, guess what?
I can ask him a perfectly innocuous question, and I'll get no reply until he's got this out of his system.
It's totally true. I am utterly obsessed at the moment, and I am stuck on it. Not good for my sleep pattern, but hey, did I ever have one anyway?
No. You did not. Yeah.
Some days. Other days, not so high. Not so high at all.
Barely functioning.
Yeah.
Barely functioning. Harsh. Okay, so we're going to go back to Lore Master of
Hey,
Sotek.
Sotek.
If you could be responsible for GW creating a new playable faction to enter the old world, who would it be, and what would be your major bullet points for them? So, like Koresh, Araby, Ind, Australia, Hobgoblin, Khanate, or something entirely new. Can I say that I
Southlands,
wouldn't...
bullet point, don't be racist.
So, I'm going to say Ind, right? I think Ind would be so hard because I have a lot of friends and colleagues who are from different parts of India, and the India that like English people, British people were taught in our curriculum is like so not what the modern like absolute just like diversity of India is, and I wouldn't be the one to want to be the one to completely fuck that up. You know, like
As
India
my-
is so big. There are people in India who are friends of mine who like live nearer to me than they do to like other friends of ours who live on the other side of India. It's such a big and rich and diverse like subcontinent that I just feel like I don't know what I would do with it in Warhammer,
So,
whether
I'm
I would
gonna
lean
sum up her
into
one
that
as-
or not.
Sum up Lindsay's one is End. Don't be racist. End is particularly interesting as well because there's that constant conversation over in the Total War side where Ind and Koresh, which will be sort of their Snake Land equivalent over there, are often brought up, and Total War is constantly edging down towards that area and spanning their map down into those areas, but the dangers involved are huge. But they did Cathay pretty decent, so hey.
Yeah. All I'm saying is that, like, I think I would really like to see End, but I wouldn't be the one to create it. It would really need people who were deeply immersed in. If they want to continue kind of their parts of the Warhammer world mirror parts of the real world, then End wouldn't be the one that I would want to do. I would want to do something more new, like the Border Princes, and take the Border Princes to be something completely like new.
There you go.
I don't know.
Southlands for me because
Yeah.
and the real reason they're obviously avoiding it is because racism. but it's got no detail at all, and it's becoming a yawning chasm as they dive back into the old world again and still constantly not refer to it. But they will refer to Araby, they will refer to the Kingdom of the Dead. They won't refer to this enormous continent they've got down there, which has some lizardmen in it, and entire civilizations of people who don't have white skin that aren't mentioned, because their focus is entirely on their version of Europe. And they're going to do one. Yeah, that's where I'd like to see. At least End gets mentioned.
Yeah, End
No.
does get mentioned.
Yeah. No, Fishmen. We're going to do Fishmen.
Fishmen!
Fishmen!
Yay! Oh, Fishmen would be ace.
I think that would be really cool, to like a whole under empire of a different sort.
Yeah, I did a stream with Sotek about Fishmen. It was quite a fun one.
Untersea Empire, that would be cool.
Yeah, the Untersea Empire. Nice. So yeah, there you go. That's what I do.
Yeah. Let me find another one. It's a thank you all for everything past year. I have dived into Lawhammer and the Rookery
nice.
for fun and inspiration, and it has been amazing. Thank you so much.
No, thank you.
This is a Lawhammer. What was your Lawhammer highlight of the year?
My Lawhammer lowlight was missing out for 3 months because I was ill. It wasn't 3 months. It wasn't quite that long, but it was really quite
felt
long.
like it.
It felt like it was like about 6 weeks, 7 weeks or something like that, where there was nothing. So a low light is super easy. Highlight is, for me, very different likely to players and similar, and that's trying out new shit. I like trying out new things. Like, for example, just last night where an entire new game was made just for that individual session. Because it gives me an opportunity to try out rules for real, to try out concepts in practice and see which ones work and don't work and see why they do and don't work. So for me, it's like one gigantic background playtest. which I really quite enjoy. And it
Background
provides
playtest. I mean, it's literally like streamed live. You do know
Foreground
that.
playtest.
It's a
Okay.
foreground
A
playtest.
foreground playtest of ideas, some of which are crazy, some of which are much less so, some of which are just sensible ideas that should always be used in rules anyway. And for me, that has always been, for the Lawhammer side, the highlight, because it shows me things that work and don't work on a pretty much weekly basis. And we can iron some of those out, or we can just leave them. But more importantly, it teaches me things. So when I'm doing other stuff that I might be writing like crazy on, like freaking mad just now, I've got a very big well of different experiences, because I'm constantly throwing out different random bits and pieces into the mix of Lawhammer just to see which bits stick and which bits don't. I'm going, yep, that's good, that bit. And it's often just teaching stuff for me, rather than necessarily the players. So that's, I know, a weird thing to be a highlight, but for me, that's my highlight. It's not an actual game-related thing or an event that occurred, although some of the events recently have been proper bonkers. It's much more a rule-based one where I can see how things go. So yeah,
I
an
know
odd
my
one, but
highlight.
that's for me.
My highlight is Service Graphics in Edinburgh, who are an amazing print shop, right? Who do really good quality prints on the same day when I go in with a detachable hard drive that Andy has given me and say, please help me, Service Graphics, and they do. But the reason that they're my highlight of the year is because I went in yesterday and they greeted me with, Gamer Lady's back! It's Gamer Lady! Where have you been, Gamer Lady? Because they really like printing our stuff, because it's so different. You can see everything that, when I go in there, you can see all the stuff on the table. It's like architectural drawings and stuff, and they're like, we're printing your map again. Have you not been streaming? Why haven't you had maps for us? How's the campaign going? Gamer Lady's back. And that really just
cool.
like made my week, made my month, made my year that Gamer Lady was back.
Nice.
They
She
might
got that in the
actually
bag.
have said Gaming Girl, but I'll let them off with that. Yeah. Let's have a look at the Fish and Chipmen, maybe battery sentient Mars bar.
Oh,
What would be the hardest faction to pull off properly, and why is it Araby?
Well, you can pull off anyone you want, but
Yeah, and dodges the plethora of racism that would probably spin out of Indor, the Southland. So I'd love to see an Empire of Mali style nation down there.
yeah, me too.
So I'm going to go back to Lawhammer highlight of the year and ask Andy Leask.
I don't know. I mean, it's always fun, the sort of random side streams where we play like unusual different characters. I think they're fun partly because, I suppose, from a role playing perspective, it's the role playing equivalent of what Andy's talking about in terms of trying something new out. So you get to just be like a different character, just short term, without the existential weight of the Empire on your shoulders necessarily. Just kids. And also, like, coincidentally, those tend to be like rule light sessions. So it really is the opposite of what Andy's saying. It tends to be a lot less of the kind of
no, that is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That is actually what I'm saying, because they are also a core component of how many rules are needed for those things. How much can I get away with? How little?
Like
absolutely.
The classic thing of just saying you've got, this type of test this much, this type of test this much, or you can pick one thing you're really good at, one thing you're okay at, and everything else you're kind of meh at. Making it really, really simple, and then just letting you kind of like play the more interesting character and have a bit of fun with it. And like last week's one particularly was a lot of fun. Because
who cares about spoilers? He got to play the Doom Lord of Middenheim, Dieter Helsnicht, which was super fun.
But in a state where he was massively weakened and effectively drunk because there was so much magic around.
Yeah.
And that was the thing of just play him like he's drunk. I'm like, okay. I can do that.
Yeah. Good times.
I don't know if Mark will have a Lawhammer highlight. I think you're quite far behind, aren't you, Mark?
Oh no, I haven't. I don't. I'm not. I don't partake. So I don't have much to contribute on that one. And
Yeah,
the reason when you started, I started watching it live, but I actually found it really stressful to be sort of on the sidelines of it, just watching you stream it live, and I just got very anxious for all of you and make sure it was all going well. So I just had to stop watching it, and I just haven't caught up.
Yeah, and
no,
it's
I can
impossible.
understand.
Yeah, it's hard to catch up. It is quite anxiety inducing, I think, if you're I do get calls
anxiety inducing our side with all the
from
mistakes.
but I get calls from the interns like, that is not gonna kill that character, is he? I'm like, well, like, if they die, they die. They're like, but no, but no, how could he do that? So yeah, they do feel like that. So Zoltan asks, what was the most surprising or memorable Dark Deeds moment from this past year?
Oh, that was watching you guys. For me, that was watching you guys play it on Lorehammer, and when anybody completed a Dark Deed, there was a little round of applause.
So
Because I've never ever, in all my years of playing Dark Deeds, I've never ever seen that happen before.
That was your Lorehammer highlight.
Yeah, that was my Lorehammer highlight.
There you go. Yeah, that was good. Yeah, that was a weird game from my perspective as well, because I was both sort of teaching it in a weird character way, and they were all playing in a very weird way. So yeah, it came out quite different. Yeah, it was, but it was fun because of that, because it played so differently. I'm not sure that was my best, darkest, deedest moment, though. I think my best, darkest, deedest moment was probably just, and we discussed it already, picking up the production copy, and that actually hitting, and knowing that it was coming, and feeling that in my hands, and going, yep, that's the bastard, and there it is. Yeah.
I thought for me the most memorable was definitely demoing it at Tabletop Scotland.
Yeah, I was going to say that too.
Like just basically accosting a random member of the public who had no idea who we were, or 3 random members of the public, and then we did know one of them, didn't we?
Strictly speaking, that's not true, because we were accosted by a random member of the public who was like, "Oh, hi, are you about to play this game?" And I was like, "Yes, and I know you used to come to my house for gaming Sundays, but like, I've shaved my head and dyed my hair blonde since then." And then he was like, "Oh my god, I do know you." And then the other people were strangers, but
yeah, the other 2 we didn't know. But that was memorable.
Yes.
Most surprising is any time I've won.
Oh well,
I never feel like I'm going to win, and then I have. So
yeah. Do you know, that is a sign of a good game, though. I think for Dark Deeds, it's really hard to work out who's in the lead, who's going to win, because of the way the mechanics work.
Yeah. I mean, you can look at the other players' sort of score pile and get an idea of how many cards have they got in there, but you never know. You never know if those are just low scoring cards, or if they double down on some really good Dark Deeds, or what they've got left in their hand at the end of the game. So yeah, it's always it comes down to the wire. It's always a surprise when the numbers come out.
And there's so many ways at the end for you just to sick a nemesis on someone or something like that, to just and it just undoes
the game I played a couple of weeks ago. My friends, my mate Ben, who was on the other week, he did an amazing. He played a Caltrops card. He had it in his room, and I wasn't really paying attention. But the game was coming to an end, and he had like 4 nemesis in front of him. Like, oh, he's going to get screwed because he's not going to get rid of all of those. He's going to have those points come off his total. And then he played Caltrops, which allows you to remove any guards or nemesis that are chasing you. So he just scooped up all these nemesis. Yeah, don't have to worry about them. Like, I've never seen that before.
Nice.
Yeah,
Yeah. I think usually I wouldn't do this, but when we were playing it for Lawhammer, we were playing it as a team. So Kath and I were. I don't think anyone else was playing as a team, so it was more challenging to play a game like that as a team, because you have to like say everything really quietly, and we were keeping quite a close track of the points that other players were scoring, because some of our Dark Deeds that we had right from the start, and then the way the game was building was to give things to other people. And it was a real high stakes game for who won or who lost. And Kath and I were also trying to work out from the special rule when Andy interjected with things like what factions those players were playing. And so therefore, who did we want to fuck over the most, because we thought they were probably enjoy playing, a faction that we didn't want to win. So yeah.
Yeah, that's a whole nother level added on to the
It was
just
a
the usual
whole other level.
It
Machiavellian performance, you know.
Just as a fun aside to that, it directly tied into what we did yesterday with our made-up game, because that game was just a big battle between 6 armies, but each one of the 6 armies in that had been influenced by the game of Dark Deeds. So the game of Dark Deeds pretty much gave the composition of each one of those forces, how big they were, how small they were. So the Skaven, who came last, were in an absolute mess, where the Red Crown Chaos faction, who won that particular game, they were in an absolutely perfect place. They had loads of guys. Didn't do them any good, though, because they flubbed it. So that made for a super fun game to see how it...
Yeah, and Kath and I did pretty badly in Dark Deeds in the end because we had a really difficult hand to get rid of. Austin sort of came second last, but actually last night they did all right because of the way we kind of played them defensively. Like we felt that Von Raukov as a Sigmarite would play. We were quite we thought about it quite carefully from his perspective, and it played out for him.
Also, buy Dark Deeds.
Please do. If you're thinking if there's something you haven't got all the Christmas gifts covered, then
buy Dark Deeds. Buy it
toss
for your grandmother.
Toss a coin to your witch sniffer.
Buy it for your daughters. Buy it for your sons. Buy it for your cousins, your uncles, your friends, your enemies.
Aunts. Don't leave out aunts.
I didn't start with aunts. I think I said grandmother first. I can't remember.
You do.
Doesn't matter. Buy it for them all, because they all deserve Dark Deeds. If you've bought 4 copies of Dark Deeds, you've made a mistake, because you need at least 5. Sit down. Think this through. Why don't you?
Yeah, so all as one, we can say, is there a personal gaming wish you'd love to see fulfilled in 2025? 1, 2, 3. Buy Dark Deeds.
A second print run. Thank you very much.
A second print run of Dark Deeds would make me exceedingly happy, and that's not going to happen unless we sell more. So go buy Dark Deeds. Oh yeah.
There we go. That is us through all our questions. And I think, although I can't actually see a clock because of the technical issues I have, that's
1 minute past. You're perfect timed.
Excellent. We are at the end of our stream for this evening. So this is our last stream before Christmas. We're about to have a Christmas break, and we will see you. We might have an impromptu stream here or there, but Andy has got a masterclass coming up. Can you tell us?
Yeah, I got a masterclass that's on Tuesday next week, where we're going to be discussing how to build a useful, effective, and gorgeous GM map. And I'm going to be giving you complete examples and also show a couple of the ones that I did professionally and show you how to do that exactly and easily. Unlike some of the other tutorials, though, this one is a digital tutorial. Some of the other ones were ones that you could do either physically or digitally. This one's 100% a digital one, so it's going to be super fascinating. That's on the Tuesday, and on that Tuesday, I will also announce my next one that's going to come after that, which will also be coming out before we start Season 9, which will be in late January. So do watch out for that. I'll be posting about that over on the Patreon blog as well.
Excellent. Thank you very much. So until the next time, thank you so much to my fellow Rooks for joining me. A good evening to you all and a merry Yule, in the words of Wind Turning Leaf, which seem to be quite fine words to end the stream on. Until 2025, see you soon. Caw-caw, caw-caw, caw-caw.
Bye, Dark Deeds. Bye, Caw.